Now I want to talk about this. Look, I'm doing this because I've written a book on it, and which I'm trying to flag. But that's not, to tell you the truth. This is, the regulation innovation problems when the digital revolution meets another sector, a completely different sector of the economy, and is trying to transform it beyond recognition. As I say, I've got a book on it, but I will also say this. This could well be, in fact, I believe it is, the digital telecosm is going to do a whole lot of wonderful things, but I suspect this is the one where it will have the most profound and fundamental impact for the better, on our society and around the world. The converging synergistic power of the biochemical and digital revolutions is propelling the greatest revolution that has ever occurred in medical history. And it's also colliding head-on with the drug regulatory system that can't begin to handle the complexity of the biochemical code that shapes human health, for better or worse. Start in the middle. In Europe, HIV treatments are now guided by a continuously updated U-Resist network powered by IBM technology. It's using data from over 100,000 treatment regimens, over 1 million records of viral genetic sequences and viral loads, and white blood cell counts. You might ask, and we'll get back to this, why on earth do we need that much data? I mean, we've got about 24 drugs. We really need that much? Yes, we do. Networks, same thing for cancer treatments. We're developing cancer treatment networks organically within the United States and around the world. A 2001 report by the National Research Council says we need a general knowledge network to do this for all diseases, okay? Not just HIV and cancers, but all of them. We need to aggregate the molecular and clinical data for all diseases. Where's the data going to come from? Patients, doctors, hospitals, insurers can provide clinical records. Biochemists have mastered the tools that can supply all the molecular information that belongs on these networks. And the digital economy has a major role to play in doing two things. First of all, in deploying the tools to collect much of the molecular data. If you've been following the 23andMe saga in the last week or so, the digital community is very good at building these things into small systems, at mass processing the data and so on. They're putting these on MEMS and other such things. But above all, the Telecosm will play an absolutely essential role in working out how to transform all of this information into effective medicine. We have the tools today. You go to the biochemists and drug companies, and they, in fact, if you tell them there's something down there that I want to modulate, they will almost certainly be able to modulate it for you. Drugs work at the molecular level. We've got 3 core tools that have converged. One is structure-based design, often with the help of supercomputers. You show them the target molecule from a breast cancer cell or something. They look at it real carefully. They study the chemistry, and they come up with a drug that'll do it. It's not perfect, but it's fast approaching perfection. We have a second, monoclonal antibodies. You bioengineer a lab animal, and you basically use its immune system to develop a precisely targeted biologic drug. And now, perhaps most incredibly of all, we are actually learning to just get into the patient and begin manipulating their own biochemical code. Or we do that. They take white blood cells out of a cancer patient, for example, and use a lentivirus, which is variation on HIV, to just go in and put some new code in, sniff out a cancer cell, and while you're at it, replicate 1,000-fold before you do. And whomp, they're getting spectacular results with this. They're early, but they really are stunning. And they have enormous problem because nobody's guessing now. They've thought through exactly, we want this to do that, and you put the code in, and it does it, by golly. And the stem cell work is actually doing similar things. I mean, it's stem cells, we understand their chemistry, their eternal youthfulness, and we're using them to regenerate tissues and organs and so on. Back to Washington, okay? How do we acquire all the information that we need to transform the knowledge networks, all this clinical and molecular data into precision molecular medicine? You can go quite a way just studying biology, no drug in sight. You can work out targets and so on up to a point, but you cannot finish the job. Pharmacology is not a science of one hand clapping. What matter ultimately are getting the drugs out and learning, understanding the drug-patient interactions. The bottleneck on that is Washington. The bottleneck on both of those is Washington. So far as the biology goes, the 23andMe story is a vivid example. Here we have a company that wants to get out mass market genetic sequencing tools, okay? These would generate torrents of molecular data from all sorts of people, healthy and sick, and this is exactly how you want to start if you're going to build up a database where people can correlate those things with clinical effects and diseases that develop later on. The FDA doesn't want this data generated until it is confident that anything that's said about the molecular to clinical links is correct. But the FDA doesn't know what most of those are either. It's just saying, wait until we've worked it out. Well, you can wait a very long time on that. The even more critical thing is the drug licensing process, because the first opportunity you have to actually begin looking at the drug-patient interactions are when you begin putting them inside the patient bodies under the FDA protocols. The FDA actually regulates the scientific process for developing that information. They script the protocols. If you don't follow their protocols, they won't license your drug. Their protocols are basically based on something that was first used in 1938 and that was formalized in rules promulgated in the 1960s. They look for simple, one-dimensional correlations between one drug and one effect, okay? And if that's in fact how the drug and the effect work, the FDA is okay. It's not great, all right, but it's not horrendous. Very few diseases work that way. That's why the HIV and cancers change on the fly. That's why people want all these networks. You've got to take snapshots of everything all the way down the road. We've been exploring now the diversity, our genetic diversity. There is way more genetic diversity down inside us than was thought even a decade ago. A decade ago in this field is ancient history, okay? The vast majority of what used to be defined as a single clinically defined disease are in fact multiple diseases with different biochemical pathways. Breast cancer is not one disease, it's 10 diseases at least, okay? That's one of the ones the FDA doesn't like 23andMe on. We are working out the connections is the hard part, and the FDA does not allow that process to begin when it should, and does not allow the process that would generate the information we really need in these knowledge networks. I'll stop there. Thank you very much.